There is a version of you that the people in your life are afraid of meeting. I do not mean a louder version, I mean a quieter one. The one who does not answer immediately, who does not explain, who simply steps back. I spent over 60 years studying the human soul. I sat across from thousands of patients in my consulting room in Küsnacht, and I will tell you what I learned from all of them. The moment a person goes quiet, the people around them do not relax. They panic. Ask yourself why. Why would your calm frighten anyone? If their bond with you were real, your peace would be welcome news, unless the bond was never with you, unless it was with your reactions. You see, most power over human beings is not taken by force. It is taken through predictability. The people close to you have learned the way one learns a piano. Which key produces your guilt? Which key produces your apology? Which key makes you reach for them at midnight? You have been trained, and you have been calling that training kindness. I once wrote that everything which irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Tonight, turn that mirror around. When you fall silent and someone grows irritated, desperate, provocative, what does their irritation confess? Not your cruelty, their dependence, their need for the role you have been playing. I want to talk to you about resigning from that role, about what happens when you stop being on call for souls who were never present for yours. I gave the journey that begins at that moment a name: individuation, the becoming of a whole human being, a someone instead of a something that is used. But before you can withdraw with power rather than bitterness, you must see the trap. And the trap begins with a lie that was planted in you as a child. The lie is this: your worth equals your availability. Be present, say yes, answer quickly, keep the peace. Somewhere in your earliest years, you concluded that love must be purchased with access, that if you ever became difficult to reach, you would become easy to abandon, so you built an entire life around being reachable. Every message answered within minutes, every favor granted, every "it is fine" spoken through a closed throat. And what has all that access purchased for you? Be honest with me, as my patients had to be. At the end of your days, what remains? A particular exhaustion that sleep does not repair, a resentment with no address because, after all, you volunteered. Here is what no one has told you. Total availability does not make people treasure you. It erases you. What is always present ceases to be seen. No man admires the air he breathes. The more accessible you become, the more you turn into furniture in other people's lives, useful, expected, invisible. In my work, I describe the mask we wear to be accepted. I called it the persona, and I must be direct with you. The endlessly available person is not generous. He is masked. The eternal yes is a performance with a single purpose: to manage how others see you so that rejection never gets its chance. But managing every eye that looks at you has a cost. You vanish from your own existence. You become a supporting character in 5 other stories and the author of none. That is not virtue. That is self-abandonment with good manners. Which raises a darker question. Why can you not stop? Why does your hand move toward the reply before your mind has voted? To answer that, you must understand something I discovered about the psyche that almost no one applies to ordinary life. I never saw the mind as a machine. I saw it as an energy system. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you feed, every reaction you fire, all of it draws from one limited reservoir. I called it psychic energy, and it is not a poet's metaphor. It is the actual fuel of your attention, your will, your presence. Now ask the only question that matters. Who decides where yours flows? Each time you defended yourself against a criticism that deserved no response, you paid. Each argument you entered merely to be right, you paid. Every hour spent rehearsing the reply you never sent, decoding why someone turned cold, paid, paid, paid. You are operating a charity, my friend, and your donors give nothing back. I warned long ago, what you resist persists. The more you push against a thing, the more of yourself you weave into it. Your reaction does not end the dynamic. Your reaction is the dynamic. And here the matter turns dangerous. A person who leaks energy everywhere becomes depleted, and depletion is visible. The manipulator reads exhaustion the way a wolf reads the herd. He senses who has no filter, who answers every provocation, who cannot bear to be misunderstood for even an hour. Such people are easy, such people are eaten. A healthy psyche keeps its energy within its own system. That looks like saying no without composing an essay about why, remaining silent without feeling cowardly, watching a provocation pass through the room like weather. So begin charting your leaks. What reliably makes you snap, justify, over-explain. Do not judge it, map it. Every trigger is a hole in the hull, and every hole was drilled by someone. Because once you seal those holes, something uncanny happens to the people around you. Their games stop working. And the players of games do not accept this gracefully. If my words are reaching something in you, subscribe to this channel. There is more I must tell you. Now the uncomfortable chapter. You believe your emotional responses are choices. Most are scripts. And those closest to you know your script better than you do. They do not need to control you. They only need you to keep reacting on schedule. In my work, I described a mechanism I named projection. We cast onto others the parts of ourselves we refuse to see. But there is a second half to this discovery, and it is the half that has governed your life. A projection requires a screen, and the more emotionally available you are, the finer a screen you make. Consider the cast of your life. The friend who appears only in crisis, the partner for whom you are forever the rescuer, never the rescued, the one whose compliments arrive only as the advance payment on a favor. None of them are in a relationship with you. They are in a relationship with a function, the fixer, the listener, the understanding one. You were hired for a position you never applied for, and your wages are crumbs. Why do you keep arriving for work? Fear. Disappoint them and lose them. Refuse and be abandoned. The deepest manipulation never raises its voice. It works through guilt, through the manufactured belief that you owe people your energy, your time, your explanation. Now watch what happens when you quietly resign. When the instant reply becomes a long silence. When "let me explain" becomes nothing at all. The projection finds no screen. The role goes unplayed. And the other person stands suddenly before the one thing your availability had spared them, themselves. This is why they escalate. The accusations, the "you have changed," the theater. You are not wrong. You have merely ceased to be a convenient mirror. I told my students, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your withdrawal drags other people's darkness into view, and most will blame you rather than face it. Can you bear to be the villain in the story of someone who was using you? Because on the far side of that discomfort lies a weapon almost no one knows how to hold. Silence. You live in the loudest century my species has ever produced. Everyone broadcasting, retorting, winning arguments that matter to no one. In all that noise, the rarest move left to you is to say nothing. Not the silence of fear, of the man who hides, strategic silence, lucid, deliberate, fully awake. I built myself a stone tower at Bollingen on the lake with no electricity, precisely for this, because I knew that silence is not emptiness. It is fertile ground, the soil in which transformation actually grows. The mechanism is simple. The moment you stop reacting, you begin observing, and observation reveals what reaction conceals, the loop surface, who pokes you and why, which conversations are traps, where your own self-sabotage hides its nest. Reaction is blindness. Stillness is intelligence. Notice how certain people genuinely unravel when you do not respond. Hours pass, then the second message, then the bait, then the anger. That is not longing. That is withdrawal of the chemical kind. Your reactions were a substance, and you have cut the supply. While you speak, they steer. The moment you fall silent, the wheel comes loose in their hands. But I will not deceive you about the price. Silence will cost you people. It will make you unreadable to anyone who only ever read you through their own projections. You will be called cold, distant, arrogant. Translate those accusations correctly. You have stopped performing, and I am uncomfortable. The mature soul becomes ruthless about one accounting. Every sentence is an investment of energy, and most situations are poor investments. You do not owe the world a rebuttal. Your absence is a complete sentence. Those threatened by it confess how much they relied upon your imbalance for their own stability, and the deepest silence is not aimed at others at all. It is the quiet in which you can finally hear yourself. The voice that decades of noise buried alive. Hearing it is one thing, obeying it is another, and here I watched nearly all of my patients fail. Because insight without action is merely a more sophisticated self-deception. You may understand every word I have spoken tonight and still answer the message that sickens you, still attend the gathering out of inertia, still say yes with your mouth while your entire body says no. To know the trap is not to leave it. Leaving it begins small, almost embarrassingly small. You read the message and do not reply for a day, and the world does not end. You feel the urge to defend yourself, and you breathe instead. You exit the argument mid-sentence, not in rage, simply finished. You extinguish the lamp at 9 and sleep like a man with nothing to prove. You say, no, and then, here is the discipline. You say nothing more, no justification. The justification is the leash. Each time you explain your boundary, you are requesting permission to have it, and handing the other party a map of which arguments might dissolve it. Stop drawing maps. Individuation, I learned, must pass through a season of retreat, not depression, not hiding, something nearer to the sacred, a withdrawal from the collective noise to relearn your own frequency, a time in which identity is rebuilt from the center outward, rather than assembled from the expectations of others. Do you want an honest measure of your progress? Do not measure your feelings, measure the reactions around you. Watch who drifts away once you are no longer endlessly useful. Watch who pokes harder when the old buttons go dead. Watch who spreads the tale that you have grown selfish, difficult, not yourself. Each response is data. None is evidence against you. They are receipts, proof of what each bond was made of. The guilt will come. It is the sound of old conditioning dying, and conditioning never dies quietly. You spent decades being rewarded for erasing yourself. Of course, choosing yourself feels at first like a crime, committed anyway. For what waits beyond that guilt is not emptiness. It is the very thing you have been chasing through other people all your life. Let me tell you what actually happens when you stop being available to everyone. First comes the silence, and it is loud. It interrogates you at 2 a.m. Did I overreact? Am I becoming cruel? Will I end alone? Sit through the interrogation. Do not negotiate. For slowly, the same silence that screamed begins to do something else. It begins to cleanse, then comes solitude. But attend to its texture. This is not the loneliness of the abandoned. It is the solitude of one who is finally accompanied by himself, the solitude of a person who no longer commits the daily betrayal of deserting his own side to keep a room comfortable. I have called this the loneliness of those who have seen something others have not yet seen. It is a price. It is also a passage. And in the space where the anxiety lived, something unfamiliar settles. Clarity, a low, steady strength that requires no audience. I was explicit about this all my life. To become who you truly are, you must walk apart from the collective for a time. You must unidentify from the mask. You must travel a stretch of the road entirely alone, not as exile, as return. This is the moment you change categories. You cease to be a reactor, a thing the world operates, and you become a creator, a soul that moves from within outward. Those who resent your absence have told you everything. They never wanted you. They wanted the service. Now the service is discontinued, and they are lost. Let them be lost. It was never your task to be another man's escape from himself. Yes, you will lose people. Count again. You will find you mostly lost roles. You will be misunderstood, and for the first time, respected. For scarcity is among the oldest laws of the psyche. What is rare is treasured. What is always available is spent. This is a rebirth, and like every birth, it begins with a separation. From this night forward, you do not accept emotional crumbs. You do not play in anyone's theater of the mind. You do not call a void love merely because it is familiar. You accept what matches your peace. Nothing else clears the bar. And if you have remained with me to this final minute, then some part of you already knows. Being loved means nothing if the price of admission is abandoning yourself. The privilege of a lifetime, I once said, is to become who you truly are. So, I leave you with one question, the same one I asked every patient who ever sat across from me. Are you willing to be misunderstood for as long as it takes to become real? If your answer is yes, write 3 words below, I'm done explaining. Show me who is ready. And remain for the next video. Our work together is not finished.